for a very long time to do an interview series. And so I've been talking to my clients, my friends, and all these wonderful people that do great things and who love marketing too. So this is it. On Fridays, it's Friday. On Fridays at 2 p.m., we're going to get on here and do some interviews with some really interesting people that I know. And we're going to talk marketing, how they got in the business, and hopefully this will give you an idea about where you're going, what you want to do, or what you're interested in. So let me, without further ado, introduce you to Julia Stauffer.
I
Hello,
am.
Julia. Hi.
I
Um, Lovely to bring you here. I wanted to play with all my different scenes. They're called scenes. You know how long it's taken me to do this? Like a couple of years, I tell you, to get them. Because look, now I'm gonna ask you, Julie. I'm gonna ask you a question. I'm gonna take you here. Be like, let me get to my interview questions. So, Julia, we've known each other quite a long time, haven't we?
We have. I met you pretty early on in my real estate journey. So yeah, it's been quite a long time. That's been 9 years I've been licensed now. So
Wow.
I
Wow.
met
Yes, because I met you very early on in my owning a business journey.
okay, because
I
you were
think
invited to our brokerage to speak on marketing. I think it was specifically social media, and
yes.
yeah.
Oh no, SEO. It was this
Oh,
and
SEO.
social and
You did
social. I think that
social
was.
after. That's
You
right.
might not remember because it's 9 years ago.
Yeah, you invited people if they wanted to learn about social media. You could do one-on-ones with you, and then we actually did that. Lori and I were working together at the time.
Oh, that's
Remember?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay. Now I know you're my first in my series, but I have a bunch of interview questions to ask you, and I know you've seen a
Okay.
few of them. But I'm gonna get okay. So the first one, it's a little icebreaker, but what did you want to be when you grew up, and why?
Well, it's funny because I knew you had some interview questions and you gave me a few things that you might ask. And I sort of looked at them and I thought, "Huh, well, if she asked me, what did you want to be when you grow up? I don't have an answer. It's always been one of those things that if somebody asked me that, I've been like, I don't know. I've never really had one thing that I hankered to do or anything like that. And so because I knew that, I thought, well, let me ask my mom. Maybe my mom remembers something that I said at one point. There's got to be something, right? So I texted her. I said, hey, mom. And she's like, no, no, not really. So I think that's kind of part of a bit of my story, really, is the fact that from a young age, obviously, I really didn't cling to any one thing. And I am a Gemini, so maybe that's a little bit of,
I
being
didn't know
interested in
that.
different things. But yeah, so I think that, it took me basically until about 9 years ago to really find what I want to do in life. And so,
Right?
that's a little bit of the part of my journey, really.
And you've done really well. Like you've gone off and done some of your own marketing, and I mean, 9 years you've been in it now, and you had a career before that, did you not? Tell me,
Well, I
can you
did.
share? Yeah, oh,
Of
go on.
course I did. I'm, over 50 now. And yeah, so obviously 9 years I did have a career. I had a career in the insurance industry actually for over 25 years. I got into it really young because out of high school I didn't know what I wanted to do. And through a connection with my dad, I fell into the insurance industry. But it was the fun part of the insurance industry where you're running around meeting different people on the road, had a partner, we ran a territory, we ran it like a little business, and it was very fun for, like 8 years. And then, at some point you think, okay, well, if I'm in this insurance thing, I should probably get into like serious insurance. And so then
Mm.
I got a job working in an office, did personal insurance for years, and then finally in the last 10 years I was working in large commercial insurance with a major brokerage.
Wow.
But all the way through that journey, I've always helped my husband with his business. So, always sort of a little entrepreneurial on the side. And for quite a few years, I also helped my sister in law market a baby skincare line.
Oh,
So, helping her sell, helping her marketing. So, even though I had this career, which I actually never worked full time in after my daughter was born, but I was always doing little side projects.
yeah.
With husband and with my sister-in-law. So I always kind of had that a little creative outlet on the side. So yeah. So but I knew that it never really felt like the perfect career for me. And so I made a pact with myself when my daughter was graduating from high school, heading to university. She was making all these plans. And, I sort of felt a little more free at that point to maybe think, okay, well, what do I want to be doing for the next 20 years? And so I made a pact with myself that I would not have my 50th birthday party at the office where I worked, that I would be doing something else by the time I turned 50. And so
I
that's
love
what.
that. It is funny because I think I didn't start my business till I was 49,
Back
basically. So isn't that, no, sorry, 39. So it's that
30.
interesting, right? Like, and okay, so the story behind your career choice. So you took the insurance because,
Well, I mean, obviously, I was, the question is, well, what can you do if that's all you've been doing? But I also had been doing marketing and that sort of thing. And I knew that having been in insurance for many, many years, that contracts and dealing in large commercial insurance, I was dealing with very huge clients. So servicing clients and, keeping people happy, that was all part of what I did. So I knew that the contract side of it, the actual legal terms, all of that technical side of it wouldn't be that difficult. And I was excited by the challenge of building a business. So
I
that's
think that's
where real estate
huge.
came to mind. So, yeah.
Well, because that's what you want. You want somebody who can read contracts, like, right? You do,
One, yeah,
or
in the
draft
insurance
them.
business, there's a lot of different, every company has different contracts. In insurance or in real estate, there's only three or four very standard contracts. So it's actually simpler in a lot of
Oh,
ways.
isn't that funny, right? Because you think it'd be more complex because it's a such a big. Well, I guess I think insurance sounds too complex, and I wouldn't want to be in it. But I'm glad you did the marketing on it because you're just a natural marketer, to be honest. Like when
Well,
so right. So okay, so we know how it all started. Now tell
yeah.
me about marketing in your business, like when you first launched your business to what you're doing now.
Yeah, so when I first launched, I met great people like you, and I absorbed everything that our brokerage had to offer, like having people like you come in and speak about different things like SEO and social media. Obviously, social media was starting to be big then, but it wasn't like it is now. But I was lucky enough. My brother is a very creative guy who's always in the branding space and creative space, so he actually helped set me up with my logo, my nameplate, my colors for my website. Like he really gave me just a really good framework to work from. So I felt immediately like I had a sort of set of a standard that I could apply to everything that I did, and that really helped me. Because no matter what I did, I branded it the same way. And then, so I always looked consistent, even though what I was doing wasn't necessarily great. But every time people saw it, they knew it was me because it looked like me. The colors were me. The logo was clear, all those sorts of things. So I was really lucky in that regard that I had someone that had a good little vision for me. I said, okay, what's my vision? So, um, yeah, so I was lucky from that standpoint. And I started out, it was only this year that I actually got professional headshot taken. I've been working for the last 9 years with a photo of myself that I really liked when I looked happy at a party. So just goes to show nothing has to be perfect as long as you feel good about it. Yeah, things things are never perfect. That's for sure.
Things are never perfect. I like that. I like that a lot because you can't when you're starting out. It's expensive and you have more time and less money. So you got to make those things happen, right? And
Exactly.
so tell me about your marketing strategies now.
Well, these days, over the last year, I have actually been leaning into video quite a bit. I've been taking some really extensive courses in video marketing with Kim Ritberg. She's out of New York. She is a fabulous. She's been a director, podcast producer. She's worked for Us Weekly and Netflix, and she's really got an amazing background. And she's been super, super helpful in sort of building out bringing yourself more into your marketing. In real estate, obviously, we all have to be showing properties and making them look beautiful and presenting them well. But when it really comes down to it, people have to learn who you are. And so, being more present in that way, um, I found really effective this year for sure. I lost your sound.
Thank you, thank you. Are you doing reels or are you doing shorts, or like how are you deal and how do you do it? Like, because it's scary for people to get on video.
It's very scary. I would say probably. I mean, I started doing courses with Kim. I think almost, yeah, like summer last year, and I think probably only in the last 2 or 3 months have I started to feel more comfortable. It is uncomfortable, but you just have to keep showing up. And yes, doing reels. Reels are very popular, and interspersing those with posts. Obviously, you were one of the first people to talk to me about having a content calendar,
Oh,
and you gave me a framework for one a very, very long time ago because we worked together for a little bit there. I'm still, I must admit, not very good with that, but I know I'm supposed to have one, and that sort of, even though I'm not actually using it, it keeps me knowing that I have to have a schedule, whether it's in my head or on paper. I still know it exists. So,
well, that's good because it's kind of like pre-planning. So this is besides like showing houses and stuff. You're doing reels about neighborhoods or like, yeah,
so
tell me.
yeah. So I mean, it's a mixture of being of local local interest pieces as well as educational pieces. Obviously, as a
Oh.
realtor, there's lots of education that can go along with that in our industry, especially over the last few years. There have been so many changes, so many regulatory changes, so many different ways in which we're allowed to deal with the public or deal with things in a certain way, deal with offers in a certain way. There's been so many changes that there's always an opportunity to educate people about something new that's happening in our industry. So mixing up that personal content with the educational pieces, and then obviously the marketing of the properties. So it's a balance between all three
Mm.
of those things.
Okay. I just love, like, I mean, who doesn't love real estate marketing? Real estate, right? Just the houses are beautiful, the kitchens are, yeah. So tell me what were some of the challenges you faced in the beginning, and what are some of the challenges you face now that are different, you think?
Well, obviously, in the beginning, when social media wasn't as prevalent as it is now, in real estate, a lot of people, you look to print marketing. And if people think it's hard now to get engagement or know where you are, with print, you spent a lot of money, you did a lot of back end work, you put it out there, and you had no clue what was happening, whether it was effective or not. And as everybody says, you have to keep doing it, and you have to keep paying for it, and you don't know. You're not necessarily going to get that phone call that said, "Hey, I saw you in the paper." And obviously, print has dwindled. I mean, if anybody that's watching locally has seen how the North Shore News used to be this big and it's gone down to a little tiny thing. So print has obviously dwindled to the point where social media has really taken over.
Mm-hmm.
So leaned into that as it's gone along. Also, when I was in business helping my sister-in-law, that was like 2009-ish, and that's when Facebook was really starting to become really something that you could use for marketing, and we did that fairly early on. So I've been on Facebook, sort of doing that type of thing for a very long time. So that's something that I've enjoyed learning.
Yeah.
Um, Actually marketing on Facebook, actually spending on Facebook, that was a lot easier back then than it is now. There's a lot more
Mhm.
challenges to it now. So I think
Especially
just,
for real estate.
yeah, I think just showing up as yourself and building your own audience is actually more effective than just trying to throw money at it and push yourself out there to who knows who.
Hmm.
Um, I think building your actual own crowd is more effective.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a slow build, right?
And it
And
is. It
y-
is. Exactly.
you mentioned a woman earlier that you follow for video. What was her name again? And do you have any other resources?
Kim Richberg.
Okay.
And she also has a podcast, which is called The Exit Interview, which is kind of interesting because she got out of corporate life. And so she has lots of women on that have sort of changed direction and that sort of thing. So, yeah, super
Oh, that's
interesting.
nice.
She's introduced me to, if you're talking, are you talking about like tools and that sort of thing? Or,
Yeah.
yeah. So, I mean, within the video space, video and graphics, obviously, Canva. I mean, who can
Canvas is
live
good.
without Canva, right? Canva is fabulous. My favorite program ever. So you can create your own graphics as long as you have something standard that you can put on it. It's really simple and super effective. So many things you can do with it.
Hmm.
As
Do you do
far
your
as
videos in there?
you can. I actually, since working with Kim, I've been using InShot, which is
Oh,
an app which you can, so you're using it on your phone. But I find InShot really great for putting videos together. Not super long videos, but for doing reels and that sort of thing. It's really great for pulling out captions, moving things around, backgrounds. It's really good. So I like
oh,
InShot a lot.
nice.
Um, as far as using, you're talking about, whether you're doing reels or what you're doing. When you're doing reels, then I can take that content, say in shot, and I can move it to a different size so that I can put that then in a YouTube short. You
Oh.
can, and you can make it wider form. I do that, then I put that video within a bigger field where I've got my imagery on the side and a little more content on the side about what I was talking about. So moving some of that over to YouTube as well, because I don't know if anybody's ever had the experience of Instagram saying you've done something wrong and they're going to block you. That's very scary. And when you think of that, you think, oh, where is all my stuff? And if it's only in Instagram, you're going to feel pretty cut off if that happened. It happened to me the other day. I just filled out the little form, sent it, and they unblocked me right away. So obviously it was a mistake, but it does give you that feeling like you have to be using your content that you're making in other places. So I
Mm,
also put those videos and I'll put them, for example, in my blog on my website. So, each piece that you're making can be
should be,
manipulated
yeah.
and should be for sure, because as you said, evergreen, right? The website stuff is the stuff that'll be
It's
there no matter what happens to our
right.
friends
I
at
actually
Facebook.
I've hurt myself doing that. I not listening to myself. I've hurt myself because yes, and like you should have a flow of what you're doing, and use it in as many places as possible if you can. To the point, like I mean, do they have to be exact? No, it sounds like you have to change sizing and stuff, but having it on your website versus just Instagram, I mean, yeah, you would feel. I get nervous because well, my name is Pip, but my full name is Philippa. And so if my friend's been locked out of their account and they can't verify themselves because it's different than what's on their birth certificate.
Oh, so yeah,
So
okay, yeah, yeah,
so I'm
yeah,
like I look at my name, I'm like, "Oh, what?" So
right.
if you never hear from me again, I would be pretty down cuz like, I got some Facebook friends I like that's how I like it would be just be a thing, right? Okay. So how do you prioritize different marketing activities and time and budgets and things cuz you do a lot like you're I mean for real estate. So how do you manage all that?
Um, I mean, when you have, I mean, when you have a listing, I definitely have a certain process that I go through as far as what to do at each step. Obviously, you've got the pre stuff, then you've got the actual launching, and but even then, you have to remember that you still can't only focus on that. That's why the interspersement of the personal things with the educational, if you're
Mm,
only posting, as everybody, well, in the real estate space, you can't just be posting here's your listing, open house sold. That
mm.
it's great that you're selling things. That's great, but how are people getting to know you? You've got to have that other content in between. So having a bit of a content calendar again is sort of keeps you a little bit, yeah, even
on
if it's
on it.
I do this and this, not necessarily the actual idea, but when I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. So
Hmm. Yeah, you really kind of have to figure out what you're how you're going to organize it because educating people is tough. Reels looks so but it's creative, right? Doing the
yeah,
reels and yeah, yeah, I like that.
yeah.
What do you think about the AI stuff and would you recommend it?
Um, It's very helpful for me to clarify thought, I think. I don't like to use it to create my thoughts. I
I like
luckily
that.
feel like I have, I have the ideas, and you can just throw it in there to sort of put it together in a more cohesive way, and then pull it out and then reword it from there. But obviously not using it straight from whatever
Yeah,
chat
yeah, yeah.
you. But it can be very handy, especially if you are, sometimes you have a little brain block when you have to put together, you know,
Yeah.
some specific piece, and it can be really great to sort of bust open your brain when you're frozen. That's one of the
Oh, I like
things that,
that. It's so
yeah,
true actually, because you can
when you're
get
doing
stuck.
yeah.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Where you're just staring, you're like, what? You know how? Because there's
Well,
different types. There's sales copywriting, and other types of copywriting, right? There's not just like real estate would have its own type of copywriting that you have to, like charming probably means small, you know.
yeah,
Uh you
the
know.
buzzwords, right? The buzzwords. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, and what so you use AI like the rest of us. I use it too. It's quite interesting, but it is we've learned, hopefully everybody's learned that you can't use it for everything because
Yeah.
the human touch, well, it's still better than AI, right? So, okay,
Yeah.
two more questions. What are some of the biggest marketing challenges you faced and how did you overcome them? Second last one.
Well, um, honestly, I think the on-camera part has been the hardest.
I
Definitely.
give you that.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
definitely think that. I mean, it's very easy just to do the other part. You really have to. It's really a comfort zone thing that is very hard to break. And not everybody's comfortable doing it. And if you're not, then that's fine. But
That's okay.
yeah, I think it's something that if you can, even just a little piece that you can use every once in a while, just small things. Yeah, just I don't know. I think the on camera part's been the most challenging.
I agree with
But
that. It is really challenging
yeah, but I think it can be one of the most effective if you can get a little bit better, and you get a little bit better every time. It's
every
with
time.
all of these things, it's all consistency, right? Every time you do anything, as long as everything has a cohesive look and a feel.
I'm working on
um,
that one myself.
yeah, and then you keep adjusting as you go. You can't
Yeah.
expect miracles.
No,
Nothing
you
is
can't.
perfect.
And you have to practice at things, right? You get more comfortable with the green dots. You end up feeling like you're actually talking to people versus, just, and it's easier to talk to other people when
Yeah,
on camera,
it's
right?
true.
Yeah, yeah,
It's true. It is
yeah. Okay.
easier staring at yourself.
Okay, ending advice. Like what motivation what would you give to somebody to take away as actionable step, inspirational thing you do or would do that you'd take away? What would you tell somebody first advice? I guess that's what I'm asking. What's the advice you would give somebody who's thinking of either becoming a real estate agent or they're just starting out in their career?
I mean, just starting out in real estate, I think it's obviously more challenging as from the marketing perspective than it used to be, because you are expected to be a little bit more personable and all of those things. There's so many people out there that have big personas and do things a certain way, and then when you're starting out, you naturally draw from other people, and you think, I like how someone does this and someone does that, and that's what you should naturally be doing. And eventually you can distill that down into your voice. Not necessarily your actual voice, but your voice as in your tone and your look and all those sorts of things. So
Hmm.
I think it's just really important to and absorb as much as you can from what other people are doing, and never feel like what you're doing. You can also look at other people too much. You kind of have to
Mm.
keep on your own path, and it's good to look around.
Oh, what froze? Oh no. Craziness. Hello? Uh-oh. What happened? Julia, you froze. I do wonder if I do things sometimes. You're gone. Are you actually? Oh, You are gone. Oh no. All right. Well, that was a great discussion today. We went over our little 20 minutes. It was super fun. If you caught that, I'm going to go find Julia. Oh. All right. Oh, hello. You're
Yeah,
back. I don't know what happened there. Almost felt like the dial up took over.
yeah, not sure, but yeah, I thought, just pull it, watch other people around you, but in the end, focus on, creating your own voice and your message, and just connecting with people.
I like that. Well, in the end, our jobs are all about people because we're peopling, right?
Yeah,
And no matter what job you're in, you're peopling.
yeah,
Um, so I do, it's been wonderful to see your success grow.
thank
And I love working with and around you, and I can't wait to keep knowing you in your success for the next 10 years because um, you definitely, if I was living in your area and not with a
you. That's
bucket of
right. No,
water between us, you'd be my first pick, I tell you. I've seen you do some great things. So we thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you next time, sometime.
yes, thank you for asking me. It was really
Yeah,
fun.
yeah. It was really fun. All right, and we'll talk soon. Bye,
Okay,
everybody.
bye.
Bye.